So, Dave, years ago, the two-tone movement helped bring a voice to the issues of racism. And it was one of the most powerful music movements. Do you think any music today is parallel with that kind of political movement?
Well, not that I'm aware of, but most often they happen by sort of accident. We were very lucky where two-tone started in the Midlands. We didn't realise we were lucky. We thought we were very unlucky, but it turned out not. Living in a sort of post-industrial Britain, where lots of people of lots of different colours had been shoved and forced into factories like cattle, and then the factories had moved to other parts of the world, and now everybody was standing together on unemployment line. So it was noticeable from people's personal experience that nobody was coming and taking the jobs. The jobs were being sent somewhere cheaper, very much like what's happening today, I think, in America, isn't it? And so, although there were lots of forces that would like try and divide, whether it was, people from Jamaican heritage or India or Pakistan, they try and say, well, it's obviously it's their fault, isn't it, But too many people had been through real life and knew that it wasn't. And because of that, working together on a factory line, I think it broke down some of the natural reluctance about people from different cultures, so that it wasn't rare to see fairly mixed pubs in Birmingham, and it wasn't rare, and I was one of them, who would go to the Crompton Arms in Handsworth and watch Saxa play, and it would be a lovely mixed audience of black, white, Asian, drinking till well past drinking time limits, and it was a sort of multiculturalism that had just come out of everyday life. It wasn't a political theory, I think, just that everybody had got to get on, you can't keep crossing the bloody road, can you?
But a lot of the songs, though, wound up becoming political. I mean, look at something like Stand Down Margaret.
Well, Margaret Thatcher had a very posh English accent, but it was mainly affected. She was a shop girl from Nottingham, grew up above her dad's shop, and I didn't like the way that she talked down to us. I didn't believe that Reaganomics was a long-standing policy. It seemed like a bit of a flash in the pan, even at the time, and it's proved to be true. And the price that we paid to become so thoroughly modern, so Margaret Thatcher could suck up to Ronald Reagan, I use the phrase advisedly, she broke the heart of a lot of English culture. People stopped talking to each other at bus stops. People started becoming competitors, buying shares in their own companies that used to belong to the country in the first place. Now competing for shares in the gas company, the water company. It's pathetic. So it wasn't just stand down, like resign, before this hopeless attempt to take us back into the 1950s hurts everyone, which it is now. It was also stand down, get off your soapbox, stop talking down to us. We know who you are, we know where you're from, and you're not going to get away with pretending you're from the high and mighty.
So if you had to call out a current political leader, who would you ask to stand down today? Who do you think is the most damaging?
Well, just at the moment, they seem fairly benign, don't they? I don't think it's the politicians we have to worry about. I think it's the fact that the systems don't work anymore for our times. Our systems have become an anachronism. Our version of democracy, first past the post, only two parties monopolising information that's allowed to get to the electorate, is bogus. It doesn't work, it's not fair, it's not representative, and it's too easily, like the courts in America, it's too easily swayed by the colour green, and that's not environmentalism, sadly.
So, all right, let's
Unless you could have organic dollars. Would you pay $1.10 for an organic dollar? Look at that, a bit of a surcharge on it. I would, and it had a little carbon footprint in the corner. You see, I'm using organic dollars. Then you'd certain stores that go, do you know what, we'll give you a sale, we'll give you 20% off if you'll use organic dollars at our shop. They draw more customers, and you get 20% off. Even though you paid $1.10, you're still 9 cents up.
So they're not manufactured out of
Use that
redwoods.
9 cents to do something about Tibet. What could you do about Tibet? You can't just keep telling the Chinese off about it. You know, they got their own problems, aren't they? They're going to have to reinvent themselves bloody quick, or they're going to be the quickest empire to go up and down in history.